Hello friends, it's me, Gumi Eons, and if you didn't know this about me, or if you're just a new viewer, this channel is sort of used as my hyperfixation point, or stuff that has happened to me, or stuff that generally interests me. And if you have unfortunately read the title, you know that this video is about art block. I recently just got art block last week as of recording this audio, and it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare to deal with, and I don't want to deal with it. So I thought, I'm out of the woods now. I didn't want to make the video when I was actually in it, because that would just be me being very angry and upset. So I decided to make a video about it. So yeah, this is what's come out of it, a good experience. I also wanted to make this video because I know in a lot of creative fields, art block is a massive issue that people just have such difficulty with. If you make clay, or if you're in the business of visual arts or anything like that, like music too, anything that takes creativity, art block can sneak up on you like a little pesticide that it is. And I decided to, because when I was in art block, I wanted to write down a couple of things of what I noticed when I had it, and now that I'm out of it, I sort of made a list of things, and I just decided, I was like, this is a video for people, but this is also a video for me. Like, if I have art block in the future, then I'm just going to look back at this and see how to sort of deal with it, or know that it does get better in the end. Also, if you notice the Speedpaint, this is a Mori. It's a fan art thing. It's not too spoilery, but it's not that scary either. It's not like the actual game, but I thought it was fitting because that's all about like depression and feeling sad. I love feeling sad. No, it's a horrible game. It made me feel so many emotions, god damn it. But that doesn't really have anything to do with it. It's just a speed paint, but I thought it was fitting. So with that all being said, let's just get into it. Now, how I want to sort of deal with this video is to sort of do it in parts. So I wanted to see what sort of caused art block, what were the main sort of things that you could see that like happened, and what affects your art, because art is very personal to us whether we want to admit it or not. There are a bunch of positive things that art does for us, but there's also many negative things, and one of those things is art block. And when I say art block also is kind of like burnout as well. They're very similar, just art block has to do with artists. And then I want to go over the types of art block. So these would be the, oh, I have motivation to draw, but my hand-to-eye coordination just isn't working, or I can't get what's in my mind's eye to go onto the page, or like, oh, I have no motivation to draw and I hate everything I'm drawing, you know, stuff like that. And then the signs to look out for in the future when you're out of art block. So if it's on the horizon and you can sort of see it and you can identify it and try to wiggle your way out of it before it gets into too much of a chokehold. And of course, how to get out of art block will also be discussed. There will be the easy fixes for like if you have commissions to do, if you have a collab project that needs to do, or something that just needs to be done quickly but you have art block. So you know, that will be discussed as well, but those are just quick fixes, and then we'll go over the more like, oh, a week or two, or like stuff to help in the long term, not just quick charges, you know. And I also wanted to say that this is not a video about having depression as an artist. That's a very different thing than what I'm talking about. Art block and depression and all other mental illnesses that go into art as well. This is not what it is. Like, of course, these tips can help if you have depression and are also an artist, but those will not help you like, oh, get up and go have a shower and brush your teeth and stuff like that. These are just little helpers, but it wouldn't be a solution to mental illnesses such as that, and I would recommend going to see professional help, or if you can't afford it, like many of us can't, you know, the internet and YouTube and getting help also is just amazing from there as well. So This is not that. This is just for art block, and of course, being artists, when researching for this video, I found out that most artists are mentally ill, which is very funny. But this isn't what that is about, and we won't be talking about depression and stuff too much. They may overlap, but that's not the main point of this video. So with that disclaimer in, let's get to our first topic, which is the lovely what are the causes of art block? Yum. Now, art block can be caused by many different factors like a lack of motivation, bad hand coordination, mental and physical exhaustion, feeling uninspired, or another factor in your life such as a situation making you feel anxious, or having school and work to juggle at the same time, which is very hard. A good way to tell if you have art block is that you can't engage in your creative activity without stress, mental strain, or feeling as though you're being hurt in some way. Art blocks are normal for anyone in a creative medium, and burnout too. Most people said they lost around a week or more. It's frustrating when you have stuff to do like client work or collabs or anything that involves other people that you can't just be left alone yourself. Or you have a really strict uploading schedule on your social medias, or if you have a video to get out, or anything like that. Art block is just when you can't do any of that. It's so frustrating, because you've been able to do it any other day of the year. It's just this specific day, or week, or 2 weeks that you just can't for some reason. It's so difficult for no apparent reason, because it's like chewing something. You're supposed to be good at it, but then every once in a while you chew on your mouth and it's like, oh god, you're supposed to be good at this. You've done it for 18 years? God. But that's how art block feels. It's so frustrating to deal with, and it can be caused by so many things like we've mentioned, so you shouldn't beat yourself up about it. It's totally normal, and everybody in every creative medium, or people who just aren't in creative mediums. I know my brother who works at a serious finance job where there is basically no creativity. He gets burnout too by work. Everyone who I've talked to about burnout, like my parents or cousins or whoever, I talked about it and they were like, oh yeah, no, burnout is a massive thing for me. This is how I deal with it. So something to keep in mind is that you are never alone when you have art block or burnout. You're not the only one feeling this. And it comes and goes. It's really simple. The way I like to think about it is a battery, like a phone battery. You can only put so much in the tank, and then it slowly goes down and down and down until you are at 0%. So something it's really important to keep in mind is you have to keep filling up that charge. You have to keep filling up that battery. So when you're in a quick bind, when you have to get something done, but you do have art block, here are some tips and tricks to sort of help quickly charge, not the full way, but to just get in there. If you can go outside, maybe for a little walk, you could also clean the area you're working, or you can clean your bedroom. It helps being a bit organized, especially in the place that you work. I know I work in my bedroom, unfortunately, but it really helps when you're in a place that is organized and it's clean and you can work in and you're fine with. Even a simple wipe down with a multibacterial wipe will work. You might not think it would help, but it really does. If you've been drawing for a while especially, I would suggest to get up and stretch around a bit. If you work in the house, go up into the kitchen and the sitting room and other rooms too. You can go up a hall. And especially if you've been drawing for a while, you should get another drink, you should get some water, you should maybe eat a bit of snack if you're hungry. Or if you're under really, really tight time constrictions and you feel like you won't be able to have a 15-minute break, you could listen to a quick 3-minute song. There are so many songs out there and you probably listen to a lot of them. Just listen to a song, but get out of the work area you've been working with and just vibe to that for a bit, and that can really help you get back, because when you leave you can come back with a fresh perspective and you could be like, oh, this is what was annoying me about this piece, or oh, okay, this is how I want to go about it now, and that can really help. You can also continue a book or comic you're reading, just read a couple of pages. I know I was talking to a lot of family members about this just because I wanted to get people's sort of opinions about it all. And a cousin of mine who is writing a dissertation, she's really bad at taking breaks, but she needed to find a way to have a break because she was gonna lose it if she didn't. So she really just fully said, watch reberbers, watch TV shows or like YouTube videos that are like 10 minutes long. If you watch like a 10-minute video or TV show or whatever, that can get your mind off it, but at the same time not completely take like an hour time away from you, because like those Stranger Things hour-long episodes are insane. Like not everyone can take just an hour off. Those are quick fixes that will not 100% bring up your charger or battery like we talked about before, but those will help you sort of keep mentally stable while your artistry is taking place, and it will not just fend off art block, but it can just tune it down for a bit, and then you can get back to it, and then you can just keep pushing through, and then until you get what you need to get done. And then we will go on to our next one, which is the more longer artist tips and tricks about having art block. Now, I ran a poll and stuff on my Instagram, and I wanted to ask people how they felt about art block and how it affected them personally. I got a bunch of DMs, and it seems to be, and me included, that everybody sort of takes around a week or 2 weeks if it's really, really bad. I took around 4 days off. I took 4 days off from drawing. I knew it was frustrating me, and I've been here before, and I know how to deal with it, so I took 4 days off. We had family visiting, so we went to go visit them. I had a blast. We had a party, we ate dinner, it was so fun. And then I took the other day off to watch movies and to clean my room. I vacuumed it, I wiped it all down, I changed the bed sheets, all of that. And that's little things like that will really go a long way. If you you don't even have to take it to the extreme where I was like, I took 4 days off. Like, you can take just the 1 day off, you can take the 2, you can take a half day off. If you can, of course, like if you're under a really, really tight schedule, of course, like I can't stop you. But this is for more of the longer term solution. When I was during this 4-day break, I found out that I really like doing physical activities more, not like running up the hill. I was playing games. I was playing like Stardew Valley or Hades or things that would keep my brain occupied, that I wasn't thinking about art, because a lot of us face this where it's like, I'm an artist, I'm not drawing currently at this moment, and I feel bad for not drawing. I don't feel that as prevalently as I did, but it can still creep up on me, especially when I have art block, and especially when I'm taking a break from it for a long time. So I found engaging things like playing games or watching movies where I'm really excited about what's happening next, or if I really like a book or a comic that I'm reading, I will read it in full. I will watch the movie in full. I will watch the TV show in full. Those things will help you take your mind off it, as well as engaging your brain in other activities that aren't art. I also did physical things, like I did my nails, or I re-dyed my hair, and I just took care of myself a bit more. Like I painted my toenails because I hadn't done that in a while. Just also doing things to take care of yourself. I know skincare and sort of beauty things aren't everybody's piece of cake, and that's fine. I also baked piece of cake, I get it. I baked cookies because we had chocolate chips in the cupboard and they were about to go off, so I made them into cookies, and that was my excuse, but really I had a blast. I had a blast drawing them. Not drawing them, I was baking them. What? Oh god, being an artist has tainted me. But doing stuff like that to activate your brain, to actually get yourself into it in another activity entirely, so you just don't think about art the entire time. Just do an activity that you know that you enjoy and that you probably won't have too much pushback if you live with other people or if you have a family or whatever. Like, these breaks, how little or big they are, will really, really help you with your art block. It will really help. I know in the thick of it, when you're in it, it doesn't feel like you can get out of it or it's awful, but You will get through it. You can do it. I know I've done it before. You've probably done it before. If you're a new artist, God help you. You like. And it's important to take breaks, stay hydrated, and eat regularly during this time. So, what are some of the signs to look for when art block might be creeping its ugly head through the corridor that you live in? Like, what are some signs to look out for? One of the major signs that I have found, that a lot of other people have found out, is that if you start thinking about your art more negatively than you do usually, like more negatively. I know artists are their own worst critics, but if you're like, oh, I really hate how this piece turned out, like, as opposed to how you were last Wednesday, then you might have to just think about it for a bit and you might be having art block. So if you're comparing your art to more people than usual, if you're being more envious of other people than usual. Another thing that can happen, and especially this has gotten worse and worse with social media, is comparing yourself to other artists, especially if they have a bigger following than you. I know that I am 100% guilty of this, and I think any artist would tell you that yes, they do think about numbers, and when things go sort of a nosedive to you, when you're used to a certain amount of numbers or likes or whatever on your posts, and if you're not reaching that, that can also cause you to think more negatively about your art, which can then downward spiral into the unruly art block. And before art block happens, and if you can sort of tell that this might be happening to you, step back, take a break, just step back, step away from the canvas. And you can do some of the tips I said earlier in the other parts. I'll probably have this video in chapters. I don't know how to do that, but I'll figure it out just for you. But yeah, all of this has come from a good place. If this doesn't work for you, that's completely okay. And I would actually recommend, if you have better ideas, or if you think, oh, I think this works for me better, comment it down below, because that cannot not help people. Like, saying what you think works for you and me saying what I think works for me is great, because then we can all just share our knowledge and sort of try to figure out it, because anything with mental health and art becomes so difficult and so tricky, and because mental health is tricky and it depends on person to person, what works for me might not work for you, and that's completely okay. And I hope if you're dealing with art block right now because you probably googled it or it showed up in your timeline or whatever, that you get through it. I'm rooting for you. And I hope you get out of it okay. Now we're coming to the end of the video. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. Thanks for sticking around. All of my socials are linked in the description. I have a Instagram, Twitter, and Tumblr. All of those are everywhere. I have a neat and dandy card that you can look at. And I really hope you had fun. Have a good day, night, or evening, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.